President Ken, fellow Rotarians, a great privilege to be asked to introduce Father Matthew. Father Matthew serves in Vancouver's Downtown Eastside and with the Street Outreach Initiative, which is a joint program with the Anglican Diocese of New Westminster and St. James's Anglican Church. The Street Outreach Initiative focuses on ministering to street-involved adults living in Vancouver's Downtown Eastside, struggling daily with poverty, mental illness, drug addiction, alcoholism, violence, social isolation, and with the legacy of past traumas. In the midst of this, Father Matthew seeks by word and deed to remind each person he encounters of their infinite value. The Downtown Eastside is a parish where anything can and does happen, where no day is typical. Father Matthew has a fascinating story to tell. Please welcome Father Matthew.
Thanks very much, Chris. It's a real joy to be here, and thank you for having me. On Hastings Street, a man goes flying by me recklessly on a bike. Somehow, as he passes, he places a nectarine in my hand. I look back and holler, "Thanks." He glances back over his shoulder and just waves at me. I look down at the fruit in my hand. It is immaculate in appearance. I take a bite. It is perfectly ripe and sweet. Who is this man and why this gift? I will never know. Yet in this moment I am touched by a random sign of God's presence here in this place, where the unexpected is always to be expected, and where Jesus Christ is found in the most unlikely of persons and of situations. I am, as Chris said, the street outreach priest based at St. James in the Downtown Eastside. Our congregation has been there for 135 years, from before there was a Vancouver. And I have the great privilege of working with street-involved men and women. And although my work is religious work, and I use some religious language to talk about it, as I already have done, I'm not assuming for a second that you share my religion or anything, but I think that you'll be able to perceive below that the common humanity that we all share and the common call that we all have to reach out and affirm the dignity, particularly the dignity of those who are on the margins. Well, I'm going to invite you to join me for a few more minutes on the street. There's been another murder in the parish. Driving into the Downtown Eastside this morning, I can't miss the intense red, blue, and white strobing police lights or the yellow crime scene tape which festoons a large sector of Oppenheimer Park. Police cruisers are everywhere, marked and unmarked. Some are parked haphazardly halfway into Cordova Street, blocking traffic. Now, indicators confirm that it is a homicide scene. The two cops keeping vigil by a tarpaulin on the pathway suggest that a body lies there. And underneath at the edge where the tarp curves upward, the heel of a running shoe confirms this. Officers are combing the park now with slow, deliberate movements, moving with focus and precision. This is the second homicide in this parish in the first 3 months of the year. A few minutes later, I am on the church steps at the corner, organizing the contents of this satchel that I carry with me. Two constables appear on the sidewalk just a few feet away from me. One male, one female, locked side by side, taking one careful step at a time together, staring intently at the sidewalk. They are pursuing a trail of blood. Further down Gore Street and right at Hastings, the sidewalks are crowded on this last Wednesday of the month. This is Check Issue Day. The street is awash with rumors and speculations about the murder in the park. The killer was a man. No, she was a woman. He was black. No, she was white. Crossing Main Street, we negotiate our way through a throng of drug dealers outside the Carnegie Center. They are amiable, customer-oriented, you might say, and they are purveying almost every drug imaginable, and I mean everything. Cocaine, crack, heroin, crystal meth, morphine, speed, oxycodone, and the list goes on. In spite of my clergy collar, a man asked me, "What can I get you?" I smile no and pass him by. Down the sidewalk and almost 1 block ahead, a white man is standing there wearing the bracelets, handcuffs behind his back. A young Chinese woman, a constable, has a firm hold of his upper arm. They are waiting for the paddy wagon. The prisoner looks down at the sidewalk as if he's a bit shy. Now, an indigenous woman in her 30s comes up to them, speaking to the officer. Though I can't hear her, I do hear the officer's reply, "Okay." Now, the woman is digging through her purse, speaking a few words to the prisoner. She produces a red pack of matinees and pulls out a fresh cigarette, all the while maintaining eye contact with the constable. The cigarette is placed carefully, gingerly in the prisoner's mouth. Then pulling out an orange Bic lighter, this angel of mercy sparks it up. Drawing in the tobacco, the prisoner smiles gratefully, if self-consciously. He nods thanks to this anonymous woman as she departs. The guy I work for, Jesus, he used to describe different scenarios like this one to his disciples and then sort of ask them, sort of like a snap quiz, a question like, "So, which of these was a neighbor to the person in need?" Well, in this instance, it is a woman who comforted her neighbor with a cigarette. And two, a certain constable with the flexibility to affirm the humanity she shares with the person at the end of her arm. The officer also was a neighbor to someone in need. And on these tough and unforgiving streets, random acts of kindness like this occur on a regular basis. Does this go for more privileged parts of our city? I don't know. Heading north now on Main toward Cordova, up ahead behind a green light pole stands a very tall man in his late 30s. He peeks out from behind it, first from the left and now from the right, as if he's spying on someone. On his face, hanging just below his eyes, is a gold lame veil. The sort of veil that you might see in an illustrated edition of the Arabian Nights. A bit like a surgical mask, but not tied at the bottom. Now he's looking straight in my direction, so I make bold and greet him. "Hey, how's it going?" He gawks at me, astonished. "What?" he asks. He's incredulous. "Hello," I say again. He glares at me, his eyebrows drawn together. "Don't you speak to me! I'm invisible!" "Did you just say you're invisible?" The question only intensifies his agitation. "What? Can't you see, man? Of course I'm invisible." "I'm sorry, man." A scowl crosses his face. "What? So now you're sorry?" "Yeah, I'm sorry." And you can bet I am. "Why did you have to go and talk to me and ruin everything? Don't you talk to me again." Well, at this point, I keep my mouth, which has not helped very much, closed. I nod as amicably as possible and quickly start walking. What can one say about such an encounter? Well, from time to time, exchanges like this actually do occur, leaving me both puzzled and slightly lighthearted as well. And in situations like this, I've learned to savor the exceptionality of the moment. Here, I'm speaking with another human being. In my religion, that person has the image of God within them, and that is an image that reveals itself in various and diverse forms, and sometimes in the person